Sony and Panasonic are tying up over technology for big TVs, particularly organic light emitting diode display TVs. And we've got our tech editor here at the Wall Street Journal, Scott Austin, joining us now. That's a bit of a mouthful, that, wasn't it? Organic light emitting diode display.
You can call them OLEDs instead of LEDs, but...
Yes, I think that's still a mouthful though. Yeah. What is that?
It's supposed to be the next wave of television. So, you had, of course, the old cathode ray. We switched to LCDs and LEDs and plasmas that you see today. The prices have come down so much over the years that these electronic makers, Sony and Panasonic, they're now generating losses. And so they recorded record losses, both companies did. And they're trying to find a way to develop these televisions in a lower cost way. So these are the next TVs. They're supposed to have far better image quality, and they're supposed to be much thinner. So, but the prices right now are probably $9,000 for a
$9,000, and you could probably get a nice small second-hand car for $9,000, and you get a brand new motorcycle for that. That's a lot for a TV.
Yeah, but we talked about this 5 years ago about LED TVs and the big, big screen TVs, that the prices were so much. Who's going to buy those? It'll eventually come down, and these two companies are trying to figure out a way by tying up together to lower the cost. So usually they develop their own display panels. In this case, they're going to combine methods, but they're still going to try to develop their own branded TVs. So they'll come up with the same panels, but the TVs will be different.
So there'll be a Panasonic TV and a Sony TV, but they will still have the same panel within it.
That's right. And Sony came out with the first OLED in 2007, and it was an 11-inch TV. Didn't do so well. It was a very
an 11-inch TV. That's
I don't know the price,
TV.
But it was very small, and it was a high cost, so no one really bought into it. But Samsung's coming out with a 55-incher this year at a price of $9,000. Again, the quality is much better. You can see the quality because OLEDs don't need a backlight like LEDs. They automatically illuminate. So the black is deeper, and it just has a crisper picture.
Because oftentimes when you look at especially at LCD screen, the black is in fact charcoal gray.
That's right. You go to Best Buy and you see all the models, and you're like, this isn't really black, and you compare them all. But if you compare those to an LED, you'll see the difference.
Okay, so this problem sort of basically across the Japanese electronics industry, are we going to see more of this sort of tie-up as we go?
We might. I mean, these were bitter rivals for so long. The Sony, Panasonic, Samsung, in Korea, of course, none of them really work together, and they're always fighting. But now, especially in Japan, all these companies aren't doing so well. So they're trying to figure out ways to collaborate, but also stay as competitors. And so
well, that is interesting to me, that collaborate and stay as competitors. I remember the bitter rivals, and they always had like the latest technology, the products that were once new, the Walkman, and then the Panasonic equivalent of that. And I know that goes back a long way. But that, I mean, they were sort of the state of the art, the iPods, the iPhones of their generation. Do you see an end to this, or do you just see them maybe buying each other?
There could be consolidation. That's been talked about for quite a while. These companies are valued at so tremendous values. I mean, it would just be tough. You can maybe see some sort of joint venture. We've seen that over the years, but I don't know that one necessarily is going to buy the other. At least, when you're talking about Sharp, Sony, Panasonic, they could buy a smaller display maker or something. But.
So when they get the cost of manufacturing to come down, and then the price comes down, when the price comes down, what we've seen in the past is the margins go from this big to kind of this big, and sometimes even negative,
which is what's happening now.
Isn't that a problem when you get the cost down? Is everybody just copies you? I mean, the reverse engineering.
It is a problem, and that's what Sony and Panasonic and all these companies are trying to figure out right now, because they invested so much in the last decade in LEDs, but they invested too much, billions and billions of dollars, and now they can't even keep up because the prices have just fallen so rapidly. So this is a way to figure out, okay, we know the prices are going to come down eventually. How can we keep the costs down? And so they're
and not just keep the cost down. You have to keep going down on the cost.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the things that you used to be able to do for this was to have a patent. Right? You'd have a patent, and then basically no one could compete with you because you had the patent or the trade secret.
Right.
Does that work now, or do you just end up in court?
That's part of it. Yeah, there's. I mean, all these companies have their own patents, but I think you are seeing probably an increase in litigations.